This hour is brought to you by Jeremy Temple Law Office of Bloomington. Personal injury, criminal, business, whatever you need, Jeremy Temple Law Office will get you taken care of.
Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin-yang, come along.
Well, come on along and welcome aboard the Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, February 28th, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Thanks a lot for joining us. Todd is still on assignment for the CIA. Jim Coyle with you here. Jake's in the office as well. Lots to talk about. Hopefully on the program today, Charlie Miller's going to be with us, former Hoosier basketball player. Looking forward to talking to Charlie. Nick Baumgart's going to join us from Indiana Rivals. We'll talk some recruiting news, but there's plenty to talk about from last night in the Big Ten, especially Indiana, is they, man, wow. Did I mention Matt Taylor? Matt Taylor's going to be with us as well. Play-by-play from Indianapolis Colts. Talk a little combine action, which Jake says is horribly boring. Looking forward to that. Matt does play-by-play, of course, like I said, for the Indianapolis Colts. He'll be with us around 9:40. We'll hear from Deron Davis and Rob Phinisee and Archie Miller on last night. As a matter, wow. You heard Todd, if you were watching the postgame show last night, ugliest game he has seen in 50 years, IU game he has seen in 50 years. I'm just going back over and was just now looking at the stats. The first basket of the second half occurred at the 13:37 mark. I mean, it's unbelievable. I don't know what to do with that game. But you got to do something with it because they have had their way with them twice. That doesn't mean anything. Purdue's still not going to make the NCAA tournament. I mean, they're going to be like Indiana was last year that beat Michigan State twice, but didn't make the NCAA tournament. Wow. The comments mostly centered around the effort, and of course, that's what was just mind-boggling last night. Was that effort? Tim hit us up on the text line, and you can do the same. 812-269-6367. That's 812-269-6367. He said, "Go ahead and tell us your news that you're having Christian Lander on the show Monday." LOL. Ha ha ha! You think you know everything, so. Just so you know, on Monday, we're probably going to be having Christian Lander on the show. So there you go. Yeah, hopefully getting Christian on that things can settle down a little bit and be able to do that with school and all of that. So, yeah, looking forward to having Christian, probably have his dad, Keith, with us as well. We'll get the whole perspective, man, on Monday. So looking forward. Make sure you're here, baby, because it's happening. We'll be doing that then, so looking forward to that. Tim, you were right on. There you go. Indianapolis, Rodney from Indianapolis hits it up. How about the exchange of words between Archie Miller and Bruiser on the bench last night? I've yet to see it. I heard about it, man. I heard about it. Jake, did you see it? I know Todd didn't see it because I asked him about it. He didn't see it either. I heard about it. Oh, they can't hear you now, so sorry about that. Well, he didn't see it anyway. So, yeah, I didn't get to see it, man, and I've heard about it. I haven't had a chance to go back and to watch it because so many other things happened, I realized. Like Bob Knight was at Simon Scott Assembly Hall last night. You know, that's kind of funny that now it happens, and it doesn't even get a mention. I found out at like 2 a.m. when I'm up. That's what I'm doing. I'm up reading. It's freaking 2 a.m. reading stuff. But, yeah, I found out at 2 a.m. that he went to the women's game. The ladies played yesterday. Speaking of which, they won. I got to get the deal pulled up in front of me. I don't have it right ready, but there we go. I forget who they played. All right. Nebraska. They beat Nebraska at home yesterday, 81-53. But Bob Knight was in attendance there with Bob Hamill, the former columnist for the Bloomington Herald and his good friend. But, yeah, that just kind of got buried. I was like laughing. I'm like, now he shows up, and it's like, now he shows up, and I find out hours later because I happen to see it in the IDS post. Quietly slipping in while Indiana's away playing Purdue. The women, by the way, play Ohio State on Sunday. No, wait a minute, that's the wrong game. They play Michigan on Sunday to close out their season. So if you want to support the Indiana women's team, go out and to Simon Scott Assembly. No, they're on the road. Well, never mind. Forget it. You can support them from afar. They're at Michigan on the road, so their home season is closed. Last night was it. At least they did it with a win. Who did what in that game? Who did what in that game? Indiana. Gube with 11 points. Grace Berger at 15. And, of course, Allie Patberg, who has just caught fire. She caught fire over the last portion of this season. She had 26. 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Maggie Holmes, the freshman, had 11. 1, 2, 3, 4 players in double figures. Good for them. Hope they keep it on rolling. They're bumping up for a 4 seed in the tournament, man. They're trying. They're trying for that 4 seed in the tournament. I got the video sent to me from someone about them. I don't think that this is personal. I think that's just a great heated thing. I love that. I mean, yeah, that's just that's not personal. That's just two guys in the heat of the moment getting on something. Like, yeah. Yeah, that's cool though. But that's what I'd like to have seen this all season. And I think a lot of other fans would like to have seen that all season. To see that fire, to see that getting upset when they're not doing the things that they should be doing, instead of now with 4 games to go when you're embarrassed because you gave the worst effort in possibly 50 years. But, oh well, what are you going to do, right? It is what it is. But by that, and again, you heard Todd and I talked about it on the show, on the postgame show. This is not a coaching problem here last night. That was all players, man. Really? Because you can't play like you did against Minnesota at Minnesota and again and like you did against Penn State and put all that effort and try and then go out and dump that egg on the court last night. That's what it was. I mean, that was just horrible. Sad. You really hate to see that at this point of the season. That's the deal. But it is what it is. Hey, another big announcement is, if you didn't catch it, last night we were carried on Rivals for the first time, which here in the future, that's going to be continuing. You will be seeing the after the game show on the Rivals Network. It will still be free for everybody. Don't worry. But they're going to be carrying the show. In addition to the Daily Show as well, we'll be doing a lot of other things for Rivals as well. So looking forward to that partnership. So very happy about that. Kind of big news. That's a big deal, man. It's a very, very big deal. So looking forward to that. There's more announcements going along with that, but we're, of course, waiting until all that stuff is taken care of. Let's see. Sunday, Indiana taking on Illinois. How about Wisconsin going off to Michigan and winning? Really? I'm like, are you kidding me, man? Michigan had been playing so well, too. That's the thing. Michigan had really been playing well. This Wisconsin team, man, they have just done from the start of this season when they beat Indiana at home. I mean, and they've gone on the road and gotten some really good road wins. That's not their only one. You got to take your hat off. Greg Gard, how does Greg Gard not get Coach of the Year? I mean, man, Pat Chambers at Penn State, Turgeon at Maryland. This may be one of the toughest years to what you should be the proudest you've ever been in your life if you win Coach of the Year in the Big Ten this year. Because this is like a battle royale to WWE and the last man standing. That is exactly what this season is has been and is going to continue to be like. It's crazy. Looking forward to talking to Charlie Miller on the phone today. I did not realize he's running an academy down there in Texas, but he's got one up full-fledged and running. Hey, let's hear what Archie had to say last night. I'm sure he's going to give a lot of credit to Purdue, but I'm interested. I have not heard his comments, and I'm going to be very interested to see what he's got to say about his town. What's that? Sure, let's go from the top.
I give credit to Purdue. Obviously, very, very hard-fought game. Thought those guys defended really well, in particular in the paint, made it very, very difficult for us around the rim. Our post doubles, continued to sort of take our big guys out of the game, and our inability to sort of stretch the floor and make some shots, was a problem. But like I said, I give our guys some credit as well. I thought we really competed and played hard in the game. And without a couple stretches in the first half, at least that one with the last 2 minutes, those turnovers, game over. You can't give live ball turnovers on the road in particular here. But once we started to take care of the ball, thought we continued to get stops in the second half. We had to find a way at some point in time to have the ball go in, and Devontae and Rob there in one stretch, I thought made some shots. And then from right there, the last 8 minutes, 6 minutes, 4 minutes, we needed some things to go well for us to be able to continue to progress. But I give Purdue credit. They played really hard. Our guys did too. Just didn't make shots tonight. And they had a lot to do with it as well. But quick turnaround, on to Champaign.
First question.
Go ahead, John.
On to Champaign, he said. They're certainly not having champagne after that. And Illinois has been a very difficult place for Indiana to play as well. I remember being over there for a game was it last season or the year before last? But it's just weird. But with the way the season has gone, I am not going to be completely shocked if Indiana could go in there and win that game. It would be a surprise because Illinois is the better team. They're playing better right now, but that doesn't mean anything. We see it happen every day. It's up to the players and their decision of what they want to do. It's up to their decision of being able to bring the effort or not, man. Especially this because the other team's going to. Illinois, they're in their mind, they're still fighting for a Big Ten championship. They're up there, they're a game and a half or two behind Maryland right now. But they still have a shot in this league. It's crazy how it is, but let's go ahead and take a break, and we'll come back and get Charlie Miller on here. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat. Golf Club Eagle Point Studios, back with Charlie Miller right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the golf club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make it tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The golf club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is AJ Moye.
This is Dan Dawkins.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hey, it's Michael Lewis, former Indiana University player and current UCLA assistant basketball coach, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sellersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry. Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, February 28th, coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Could not be happier to welcome in a former Hoosier, Charlie Miller, with us now. Charlie, how are you, man?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Great. It was awesome to see you at the game a couple of games back. I know you're living down in Texas, but it had to be awesome to be back for a game.
Say that one more time. It's kind of hard to hear. I'm sorry about that.
That's all right. I said it was awesome seeing you at that game recently, but it had to be good getting back to a game because I know it's hard for you guys to get back. What's it like when you're able to come back and experience that as a former player?
Well, I tell you what, one, I appreciate, your words and thank you for having me on your show. You move on in life. It's been 20 something years for me since I graduated from Indiana. And, I'm still in the game as far as a basketball trainer in Dallas, Texas. And, life gets in the way, right? You're training now. You're trying to develop players and help players get to those levels that you've experienced as a player. And getting back, it was almost a surreal moment because I had a chance to see the behind the scenes, a game, a 12 o'clock game, that I got to the gym at 9:30 and saw all of the moving pieces that really makes it work. And there was an appreciation I had for the media, to the lighting, to the broadcasting, all those pieces that I don't know as a player you had the opportunity to really appreciate. So that was pretty awesome for me to experience. And then also, we happened to have a heck of a game we played, and we did an awesome job winning that game.
Yeah, that's an amazing perspective to have because there's so much that's going on. And when the lights come on hours before the game starts, there's so much that's going on behind the scenes. You are absolutely right with that. But and it's just like a basketball career in itself. When the game, there's so much that goes on behind the scenes before the game goes off, like what you're doing now with the kids down there in Texas with your Attack Academy. That's got to be an amazing thing for you to be able to continue life by doing that, by working with kids and imparting the gifts that you have for them.
Well, again, I appreciate the acknowledgement, and I go back to when I think it was between my sophomore and junior year, and for me, this is when the light bulb went off, the aha moment to where I'm at today. And I had no idea how I was going to get here. But I was in the locker room, which is totally rearranged, by the way. The facilities we have
a little nicer
are amazing. I mean, it's amazing. But I remember being in the locker room, and Coach Knight, in Coach Knight's way, said to me, Charlie, if you ever want to learn how to do something, you need to learn how to teach it. And I'll be honest with you all. I don't know a lot of things he said to me, which I can bring up and we can laugh about. But he said that to me, and it really changed the direction of my life, because if you now move it forward, this is exactly what I'm able to do. Coach Knight to me was a great teacher. And I feel as a teacher, you get a chance to learn things twice. And to be in this position to coach, direct, guide, and support players on and off the court is amazing. I couldn't dream this up if I had to. This was not a business plan. I just feel this was a divine appointment given from God to be in this position, and I'm just really appreciative of it.
Yeah, I wish Todd could have been on with us today. His schedule kind of changed and wouldn't allow that. But he talks so much about, like, the biggest lesson he talks about that I've learned from him, that he learned from Knight, was if you're not preparing to win, you're preparing to fail. Or not preparing to win is preparing to fail.
That's right.
I think
That's right.
And that is just that has stuck with me. I mean, but it's those little teaching things that people don't realize were actually so many life teaching moments for you guys.
Oh, hey, I'm gonna tell you something, and it goes back to this, because again, I love where we're going with this interview. Preparation, planning, being proactive. I share this a lot. That 2-hour game I watched last week with Penn State, as I don't want to bring up what happened last night. It's okay. But that 2-hour game of Penn State, there was at least 40+ hours of preparation, weight training, nutrition, film study, breakdown, walkthroughs, practice, at least 40 hours. For one game. As a fan, we get a chance to appreciate the outcome, the wins and losses, the missed shots, the missed blockouts, all these little details. To the coaches and players, I mean, there's so much involvement. And then you got to get ready again for another game and a whole other set of personnel. So again, Coach Knight, the reason why he was so successful for so many years, and the reason why a lot of us, like Todd, myself, and other people, are in life doing the best we can with what we possess, is because Coach Knight taught us how to teach and prepare. And his words, Coach Knight said this, everyone has a will to win. That's easy. But very few people have the preparation to have the will to win. That's the separation.
And the only bad thing is then guys were there for pretty much, they're going to be there for 4 years. Of course, now we're living in a different day today. And so many of these kids, they don't get to learn those lessons while they're in college, because some of them are just here for too short of a time. They're obviously not getting the full college experience, which that's, if you're going on to the pros, that's okay. But it's just a different time, man. And some of these kids aren't getting. What are you seeing at your level of how you're reaching kids, how it has changed from, say, when you were at that level?
Well, I tell you this, here's what life comes down to me. And again, we're talking about, in a short span of time, to answer your question, it comes down to me to psychology and habits, the mind and the body, and also the spirit. I think when I was coming up in 1994, I still remember the day. I still remember where I was located. I was in the weight room at Indiana when I was told that Kevin Garnett decided to forego playing college and he was going to go play in the NBA. And I was like, wow, because you got to fast forward. There was a lot of players that were not successful at doing that. I would say one that went through the junior college route was a Sean Kemp, right? But there was not many. You got to go back to Moses Malone. You're really talking about a span of probably 20 plus years of players not being ready to play. But lo and behold, the mindset was you're going to go to college for 4 years and put yourself in position, then look to play professionally, whether it's in the NBA, if you're that good enough or blessed, or overseas. So I think today the difference is players are coming in with an agenda, and there's an entourage, good or bad or indifferent. There's a business manager. There's almost a CVO, a chief visionary officer. We're going to go to Indiana for really a couple of semesters just so we can satisfy the NCAA's rules and comply, and then get you all these things that you're really going to set yourself up for life. And I don't know how, as a player, you can really appreciate that experience of learning and developing, because going to college is not just a 4-year decision. It's going to affect the next 40 years of our life. Todd's a good example of that. Like you said, you'll learn from Todd. Todd's a good example of that. You know, I'm in year 20, 21, 22. So that's what going to college really offers you, an opportunity to learn, to grow. But when you have an agenda already in your mind of money and fame and fortune, I don't know how much humility is really involved.
Yeah, and the kids today are different. I look at Christian Lander, who is a most recent commitment for Indiana, 5-star, great get for Archie Miller. But this kid is also looking at potentially reclassifying. And I look back when there is no way in heck I could have reclassified, because I just wasn't mature enough to go to college yet. I don't think so. I'm in amazement of these kids that can do stuff like that.
To even have the thought that there's a rule to say I can reclassify. I don't know this kid, and I'm not talking about this kid, but the decision-making process is more of a choice. It's not a decision. When you make a decision, you go all in. When you keep your options open, how much are you invested in what you're about to embark on? I don't know this kid. I really don't. And to say that you've committed to an opportunity, that's like for me, nothing against it. Hey, yeah, Jim, I commit to this interview. You call me. Nah, I don't know. I got something else that might come up. Sorry about that. Hey, integrity. Right, commitment, all these little small soft skills that are going to really make the difference in our lives, because we're going to be more professional people longer than being a professional player. But it's hard to see when you're 15, 16, 17.
Amen. There is amen.
I don't mean to preach, man, but I'm just saying.
All American.
it's just you don't see this, and everybody and again, the hidden agenda. The hidden agenda is really what's running the regime. The master, the plan of rubber in their hands. We're going to make all this money. I'm going to take care of my family. We're going to do all these things. I'm going to come outwardly like, humble. All these things are good. Secretly, it's like, I'm about to kill it. I'm about to make all this money. I'm about to do all these things. Well, you can't keep things in the dark too long, bro.
Nope, it's going to come out. You came out of Miami as a McDonald's All-American. You were Florida Player of the Year. You played in the Junior Olympics in Athens, Greece. You come to Indiana playing for Bob Knight. You came so already a highly decorated player, but then to come to a place and at that time, man, he was kind of at his zenith. What was that experience like, Charlie?
Well, I tell you this. It was an experience that I would not take back, because it has afforded me the opportunity to become the person I am today. I'll be the first to admit, according to what, I don't know, I didn't have the career I wanted to have at Indiana. I feel I did my best with what I was managing and learning through, playing for a coach. Like you said, Coach Knight was at his zenith. And now knowing who I am today as a person, I know there's things I could have benefited from hearing from him, wrong, right, or indifferent. But it was an awesome experience because, again, it afforded me the opportunity to do what I'm doing today. And to do it in substance, not just relying on the mystique and the tradition of Coach Knight and what that can bring, but really utilizing the things I've learned from him, from teaching methods and breaking down the game, and then reaching people. Because Coach Knight was a great-hearted person off the court. As tough as nails as he was on the court, he really cared about you. And that's what I always knew to my heart of hearts. His intention was always what was best for the players. And it always showed up in our graduation rates. It always showed up when things that we were able to do and experience as players. So I wouldn't take it back for anything in the world.
And then let's move forward to today. I definitely want to talk about what you're doing today. You have a great academy, the Attack Academy down in Dallas. Who's coming through that? What's the age level of the kids who you're working with, all that?
Well, I go from I started this 10 years ago, and to give you a story, quick story. I was actually out of basketball when I finished playing basketball professionally. I played for 5 to 6 years. I was out of the game and really in the corporate realm, really trying to learn and grow into whatever role it could be, whether it's going to be a sales leader or a national account manager with a copier company, a company that sold copiers. And long story short, within 2 years, I put myself in position to become a commercial team leader, which is like a low-level manager position, and work myself up to become an aerial sales manager. And I'll be the first to admit, I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just really driven and eager to learn and make mistakes along the way. That's going back to just being someone under Coach Knight, just trying to figure it out, prepare, and do your best. And I put myself in a position to where I was able to accept a promotion to come to Dallas, Texas. And when I got to Dallas, I always tell people the story of I hired the right rep. I hired a representative, a sales representative that was into club basketball. And I didn't understand that concept coming from Miami, Florida, especially that time in the 90s where you had to be accepted or invited to play AAU basketball, club basketball. This was a big thing in the Dallas, Texas area. I didn't understand it, but I was very intrigued by it. And long story short, I started training a player. I taught the player how to shoot. And it was just organic growth. And within 9 months, I had 20 teams under my belt.
Wow.
I went from just training one player to 9 months, going back to Coach Knight preparation, to having 20 teams, working a corporate job. And then on the weekends from Wednesday to Sunday, I didn't have a voice.
I bet.
Because you're on the court. I mean, it's just so now let's fast forward 10 plus years. I do more training and developing on court, off court than teams. I still have teams I coach. And it's younger players from anywhere from second grade, third grade, all the way through high school. And some of the players that I've been able to help play next level has played various D3s, NAIAs. They've done the best they can, not necessarily a best fit, the right fit. Because for me, lesson learned, you want to go places that you're going to play, not just wave the towel. You want to get you viable minutes. So, for me, it's all about the right fit and doing the things that's right for these players. So, that's what I've been doing the last 10 years of my life.
Man, Charlie, you are one of the most gracious, humble, polite, and enjoyable people that I've had the opportunity and honor to have on here, and I cannot thank you enough for coming on. I hope we can get you to come back and talk some more basketball as the season starts to wind down, but it has been an unbelievable pleasure having you on today.
Well, I appreciate it, man, and I'm, easy to say at 43, as I share, and it was great to meet you at the game, and again, so many great things have come from me going to that game. And I'm available, Jim. Anytime you want to talk shop, concept, philosophy, whatever it is, man, I would love to be a part of your growing radio show, and anything I can do, please let me know.
He's the best, man. Charlie Miller, former Indiana Hoosier, joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios. We're back with Matt Taylor, play-by-play for the Colts, right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Ryan Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moyer.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with the Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
Hi, this is A.J. Moyer, and you're listening to Indiana Sports Beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat. Coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Friday. It's already been an incredible day. Todd's not with us today. He's out on assignment for the CIA. Charlie Miller just finished up one of the best, funnest interviews I've had. It just the dude is just, like I said, he's one of the most gracious, humble, polite, and enjoyable people I've had the honor to have on here. Former player for Indiana in the mid-'90s for Coach Knight. Now has a TAC basketball academy. He also has a book and a virtual training program that we didn't have time to get to, but he's going to come back on. But I'm also going to have all that information. We'll put it out on the site. I'll make sure that it gets published so you see all that. But what an incredible guy who's got it going on, man, as far as looking toward – what's that? Yes. Jake asked me if he wanted me to get Matt our next interview. Of course I do. I thought you already had him. Yeah, he's funny. But anyway, what a great interview that was. But Matt Taylor's going to join us here in a second. Play-by-play man for the Indianapolis Colts while the combine's going on. Jake's had to work the combine. It's kind of our schedule was kind of jacked up yesterday because of it. But he said it was the most boring thing he's ever done. He said the biggest job was keeping the people away because they wanted to go see it. But happy to be joined now by Matt Taylor, play-by-play man for the Indianapolis Colts as the combine continues up in Indianapolis. Matthew, how's it going, man?
I'm doing well. How you guys doing?
Cannot complain. Doesn't do any good. It's cold as Hades outside, but man, I guess I'll stay in. How's the combine been?
It's been good. It's been really productive. I mean, just when you think it's going to be somewhat under control and you don't think it's going to get any bigger, it does year to year. I mean, we're talking about 1,500 media credentials, just players and coaches and GMs running through there left and right. So it's been a really, really busy week. We've been getting a lot of really good stuff for our podcast, talking with a lot of draft insiders and some national folks. So it rolls on. Last night was the first night of prime time. I think it was an overwhelming success. Not sure what the viewership was, but I'm sure it was really good. There was a lot of drama with, the 40-yard dash and the quarterbacks working out. And, the same thing's going to be true tonight with the primetime stuff starting around 4:00 and then into the weekend. So the NFL never sleeps. It just keeps getting bigger and bigger and more eyeballs on everything they do.
I've been to, as you can imagine, as you have as well, just hundreds of sporting events. The NFL, an NFL game, if people that have not been there, it's an event. Every game is an event. And it's just it's not an NBA game. It's not a baseball game. It's an event. These things are big, and the NFL is big. I don't think people can really comprehend how massive this behemoth that is the NFL is.
Well, it's an event because the games mean so much, and that's what the league has going for it. Is that they only play 16 games. It's not like basketball where they play 82, or certainly baseball where they play 162. I mean, an NFL game, in terms of baseball, that's equivalent to like 10 games. So they mean so much. And plus, you only play once a week. So, yes, they are highly anticipated. And the weight of these games means so much. And you throw in fantasy football and tailgating. And now, you can bet on NFL games legally in the state of Indiana on your phone through whatever app you use. I mean, the NFL has just become just by far the most popular sporting league in North America. And so it's really, really fun on a week-to-week basis to get ready for these games because the hype is there because the games have so much weight about them. A loss if you start, we talk about it every year with the Colts. Unfortunately, a theme with this franchise here lately is, they've gotten off to some really poor starts record-wise. If you lose your first two games out of the gate, the percentages of you making the playoffs are very, very low. They're like 30%. That's because the games mean so much and they have so much weight about them throughout the course of a season.
What's the Matt Taylor story? Everybody gets to listen to you each week, call the Colts games. Where are you from? How'd you get into calling NFL games? Because that's with the games being an event, it's pretty cool to be able to call an event each week.
Yeah, it's a blast. I'm born and raised in Indianapolis. I grew up on the south side of Indianapolis. Went to Roncalli High School, played 3 sports there, was a pretty good athlete. But just was also that 10-year-old kid that loved radio and loved sports, and it was a perfect mesh between the two. And so I fell in love with play-by-play, and at a very young age started listening to a lot of guys locally do it. And it was just like, this is what I want to do. This is what I see for myself. So, you guys talk a lot about IU. I love Don Fisher. He's a great mentor of mine and a great guy. Still communicate with him about a lot of stuff. Listen to Joe McConnell, who did Purdue football, and I thought he was great at what he did, and certainly Mark Boyle with the Pacers. So there was a lot of really good guys doing it locally that I learned from and kind of fueled that fire for me. And then I went to college and went to Franklin College, played sports there, played football there, and I just love football. That was always my first, that was always my favorite and best sport as a player growing up. And so graduated college and was looking for a full-time gig and did a lot of part-time stuff. One of my part-time jobs was at Emmis Communications, which is the flagship station of the Colts, 1070 The Fan. Started doing a lot of stuff there. Eventually was full-time. And then in 2012, had a chance to come over and work for the Colts and handle all of their radio production stuff, handle all of their radio affiliate management, and just year by year took on more and more and showed my versatility and got to the point where I was, my fingerprints and DNA was all over everything we did media-wise, especially radio, and was doing preseason TV play-by-play, and now to be the radio voice play-by-play guy for the Colts. In my home market, with a team that I grew up following, it's just a dream come true. I don't take it for granted. I certainly have a lot of pinch myself moments doing what I'm doing. It's a blast, but I take it as a huge responsibility to help fans enjoy the game day experience more as they follow along with the Colts.
So you're an overnight sensation, is what you're saying?
Not at all. Not
no, that's an incredible story.
In my own head, I feel like, it's a success story in that I like to think, hey, if you just put your head down, if you grind, if you're a good guy, you show loyalty, but also display versatility in your skill. Good things happen. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. And there was some luck involved in it as well. But I also like to think, hey, let's give this guy a shot because he's earned it. And he's also, put up with a lot of stuff. He's grinded and has done the dirty work.
Yeah, that's actually such a cool story, though, because not how many NFL teams have the guy doing their play-by-play that is homegrown from the ground up. It doesn't happen very often. It's just not that common, I know. So that is just the coolest story in the world. And you do an incredible job. And before I forget, the podcast, what's the name of it? Where can they find it? All that. I don't want to forget that.
Yeah. So I appreciate you asking about that. So we do a weekly podcast. It's all year long. Obviously we do it in the off season as well. You can check it out on Colts.com. We also have a mobile app that it appears on. It's everywhere you get your podcasts. I mean, it's on iTunes, TuneIn, Spotify. I mean, just type in Colts. It's called the Colts Official Podcast. And we have, weekly analysis on what's going on. We got interviews with players and coaches all year long. Obviously, this week it was heavy combine and draft talk. So check it out. Colts Official Podcast, again, on iTunes or TuneIn, anywhere you get your podcasts.
Did you all use a focus group to come up with that name?
Yeah, we searched long and hard on trying to come up with a name. We were like, what are we and what are we trying to do? Let's just keep it simple. Let's make it so everybody's grandma can find the Colts podcast, Colts Official Podcast.
And your story, getting back to your story, it's sheer effort, which is kind of ironic because I just had Charlie Miller on before you, a former IU basketball player. He was incredibly gracious, humble, but he's the same way. It's just his sheer effort has gotten him wherever he is, and so it's just weird to have two different guys in a row. We're talking about two completely different things, but the genesis of everything was just sheer effort and getting to where they are. Yourself, Charlie, was whatever. It just shows you what effort does for you, and it's why so many people are upset with an Indiana basketball team, which I'm not sure if you got a chance to watch that last night, but not a lot of effort going on there.
And it is. I think you're right. I mean, again, I was blessed that I knew what I wanted to do when I was a little kid, and not everybody can say that. So for me, I knew I didn't really have a plan B. I don't know if that was good or bad, but it made sure that I just made this happen, and so it wasn't without passion. It wasn't without hustle. I mean, there was a lot of times, when I first started working for the Colts, I was still doing all the side hustle stuff and all the side gigs. I was doing, small town or small time college sports and high school play-by-play at Emmis Communications. So, there would be football seasons where, I would work, 50 hours a week working for the Colts. And then on Friday nights, I would do play-by-play for high school football and basketball, and then travel with the Colts on the weekends. So you work all week, Monday through Friday, go back to work in the evenings and prepare for the high school game, work all day Friday, go do the high school game, come home, get home at 11:30 at night, pack a bag, get on a plane for the Colts, go to the game, do the game on Sunday, get home at 2 a.m. on Sunday night, Monday morning, and go back and do it all over again. So my wife, unfortunately for me, is incredibly supportive. She never really gave me any guff. She was supportive of my dream. And so for it to kind of pay off, in the sense that I'm doing what I'm doing now for the Colts is just incredibly cool for her. And like you said, you just have to put in the time and build that trust and that loyalty, and hopefully it'll pay off.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of hints. You can break the story now, Matt, that Indianapolis is going to be signing Tom Brady. Is that true?
Well, there's a ton going on. I mean, obviously, the Colts are certainly in a quarterback situation here. I mean, that's why they signed Jacoby Brissett to a short-term contract after Andrew Luck retired. To ensure that let's not back ourselves into a corner. We like Jacoby, but let's make sure we know what we have here. And so he's got one more year left on his contract. And then, of course, you're seeing all the reports out there that the Colts might be interested in this guy or this veteran free agent. It just you have to wait to see how it all unfolds. I mean, it's going to be really, really cool to see in this scenario for Indianapolis. Free agency is before the draft, so do the Colts gamble on not taking a free agent quarterback to help them in the here and now? If they don't do that, and maybe they don't get the quarterback they like in the draft, or maybe they get the quarterback in the draft, but he may not be ready to go experience-wise or personality-wise at the start of the regular season. So it really could go 100 different ways right now. It's so fascinating. And I think this is probably the most important offseason the Colts have had, obviously, because of Andrew Luck's retirement. This offseason could shape how they look and how they're structured for the next 4 or 5 years. And from a core standpoint, this team is ready. I mean, this team is ready to win now. It's built to win now because at the core of their team is still on their rookie contracts, or most of them are on their rookie contracts. So, in the next couple of years, you're going to have to pay some high dollar free agents, guys that are going to want to get theirs, obviously, and Quentin Nelson and T.Y. Hilton and Darius Leonard and, Malik Hooker, and the list kind of goes on and on. So those guys are under contract now. They're ready to go. But unfortunately, kind of the biggest missing piece is the most important piece, and that's quarterback. So we're going to find out, where they go and what direction they turn for, whether it's the short term in free agency or the long term and bypass free agency and get a quarterback in the draft.
And the league's at a weird spot when it comes to marquee quarterbacks right now. We're about to see the end of the road for Drew Brees, Tom Brady, Big Ben, Rivers. These guys have been the hallmarks of the league. They're about Manning's gone. We're about to see a complete transformation. Lamar Jackson. I cannot think of Kansas City's quarterback right now, but those guys it's the league's about to kind of change a little bit.
No, I mean, I looked it up the other day. You're exactly right. Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes have completely shifted how they look at quarterbacks. I mean, what Kansas City did and what the Ravens did, they have proven, hey, we have to, if we want guys with high ceilings that we think can take us to higher places than where we've been. And keep in mind, those franchises had stability at quarterback before they made those moves. Joe Flacco was there and Alex Smith was in Kansas City. And they said, we like these guys, but we think we've got a ceiling with them. Let's go bold and let's trade up and let's get guys that we think can take us to the promised land. And obviously it worked out well with Kansas City. But I looked it up the other day. You're exactly right. This is probably the first time that I can ever remember following the NFL that there are the quarterback supply in free agency is higher than the demand. There's about 10 teams as I sit here and talk to you now that I think could be in line for a new quarterback next year than the main quarterback they had last year. And there's about 13 viable free agent quarterbacks on the market now. So those teams I mentioned that could be looking for quarterbacks, some of those teams are going to fill their need at QB through the draft, meaning, some of these guys that are probably going to hit the open market, they're either on the market now or they're going to be like Andy Dalton or maybe Marcus Mariota or Derek Carr, depending on what happens. Those guys who have started that have been NFL commodities, they're going to be either out of jobs or they're going to be backups. So, I mean, we just never seen this before. And you talk about how Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson have shifted how we view quarterbacks. The perfect example now is Jordan Love out of Utah State. I was talking to a guy yesterday at the draft. If we're sitting here 5 to 7 years ago, we're not talking about Jordan Love in the same way we are now, because everybody's comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. If we're 5 to 7 years ago, we're saying Jordan Love's probably a guy that's going to be a project, and maybe you take him in the 3rd or 4th round. But because he's got Patrick Mahomes-esque qualities about him, he gets rocketed up the draft board, and maybe some guys have him being taken in the 1st round or maybe in the 2nd round. So it's fascinating to see the shift in how we look at quarterbacks, and because how we're now valuing the traits that Mahomes and Lamar Jackson have compared to not that long ago. We wanted just straight pocket passers, pro-style passers who were 6'4" and 240 pounds.
Absolutely, Matt. I cannot thank you enough for joining us here today, man. I look forward to having you on again, especially when we get closer to the draft, but just to talk whatever. But it's just an honor to have you on. Greatly appreciate it.
You got it. Anytime. Would love to. I appreciate it.
There you go, Matt Taylor. Make sure you find the podcast, the Colts official podcast, Colts.com. Matt Taylor there, the play-by-play. Thank you, sir. We'll be back with more Indiana Sports Beat. We're coming to you from the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this. Hello, everybody. Jim Coyle from Indiana Sports Beat. When I'm not covering the Hoosiers, you can find me at Bubba's 33 in Clarksville, located on the northeast corner of I-65 at Veterans Parkway. Bubba's 33 has hand-tossed pizzas, bold burgers, and ice-cold beer from a select list of local craft brewers. An incredible food selection, all made fresh daily. Whether you're meeting the team for that post-win meal in the family dining area or meeting friends for happy hour to watch the game on one of Bubba's 50 TVs. Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
We all want a winning smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you will get at Reynolds Family Dentistry in Sellersburg. Reynolds Family Dentistry has been serving the dental needs of Hoosier families for over 30 years. Let Doctors Roger and Jay Reynolds take care of your family. Just off of I-65 at 809 South Indiana Avenue in Sellersburg. Call 812-246-3368. That's Reynolds Family Dentistry, 812-246-3368.
I'm Rain Shaddy, and I'm a Hoosier. As a toddler, you could always find me running around in a cream and crimson onesie and a red IU hat reminiscent of those worn during the world-famous William Tell timeout, shouting, "Go Hoosiers!" Like many other alum, I chose to make Bloomington my home. As a civic and alumni leader, I have become very knowledgeable about our community and would love to share my insights with you as your realtor. Find me on Facebook or call or text me, Ryan Shaddy, with FC Tucker Bloomington Realtors at 765-623-9093.
Now that warm weather has arrived, it's time to hit the links, and there's no better place than the Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington. Voted best golf course by the readers of the Bloomington Herald-Times, the Golf Club at Eagle Point is under new ownership, has new fairways and bunkers, and it's open to the public. When the round's over, there's cold beer and a full menu at the Eagle Point Pub and Bistro. Call 812-824-1100 to make a tee time. That's 812-824-1100. The Golf Club at Eagle Point in Bloomington.
This is A.J. Moye.
This is Dan Dockett.
Hey, this is Michael Lewis, former Indiana basketball player.
This is Indiana football coach Tom Allen.
This is Jim Coyle with Indiana Sports Beat. You can always like and follow us on Facebook. Always follow the show rebroadcast on iTunes, Google Play, iHeartRadio, Spotify. TheDailyHoosier.com is a great place to sign up for each and every day. Or, of course, on 97.7 The Ref in Evansville.
Bad theater seats, cheap Halloween masks, my apartment, all things with obstructed views. Add to these large trucks and buses. 18-wheelers and large buses have big blind spots, and like my apartment, they don't always have the best view. Bus and truck drivers deal with blind spots around the entire vehicle. Always take care not to ride alongside or too close behind them. Our roads, our safety. Learn more at sharetheroadsafely.gov.
You're on the line with Jamal Meeks, former Indiana Hoosier, number 23, 1992. And I'm on the beat with Jim Coyle.
Welcome back to Indiana Sports Beat here on this Friday, February 28th. Would be the last day of the year. Normally, got a little bonus day tomorrow. Speaking of bonuses, how about a little Nick Baumgart bonus from our Indiana rivals, thehoosier.com. Talk a little recruiting news. How's it going, sir?
My coworkers.
How's it going, man?
Well, we're good. Can you hear me?
I can. Had a great interview with Charlie Miller, the former Hoosier, earlier. He is one of the most gracious and polite people I've ever spoken with. I mean, he is just incredible as far as how he views things. He's just a truly great guy. It was awesome to get to talk to him.
He was one of my favorite players when I was younger. We talked about this the other day, Jim. But am I okay? Everything okay on the audio? But he was one of my favorite players growing up. You know, I think a lot of people thought he was going to be like the next Calbert Cheney, right? Lefty, 6'7", smooth. You know, he didn't end up being that, but definitely one of my favorite players growing up in the early 90s.
He was definitely fun to watch, no doubt. But, yeah, enjoyed that. And lots going on in the world of recruiting. Obviously, nothing bigger than Christian Lander's commitment for Indiana. And I guess we need to talk about that again. So, because everything is kind of quieted down. It came out of nowhere, and then it's just kind of quieted down. He's gone back about his business. He's got games to play tonight, tomorrow, whatever. You know, it's back to normal.
Yeah, no, huge game tonight. Yeah.
What's that?
He's got a huge game tonight. You know, that was one of the things that
against
Evansville Boston. He's at Evansville Boston playing for the SIAC title. And that was one of the things, you know, people kind of knocked him on was he hasn't ever won anything. So here's a chance for him to win something. And, you know, it's going to be a huge game. They lost last time they played him.
A lot of interest in the recruiting side of things, Nick. Where is Indiana right now on some of their other recruits that they're looking at? I know there's been a lot to talk about. A guy like Blake Wesley, who's a great shooter from up north. You got First and Trey Kaufman and all these. There's so many guys out there in the 20 class and the 21 class. Where's Indiana right now?
Well, Pierce Thomas had gotten some IU interest. He just committed to Butler yesterday. So the fallout there is that Butler is probably out. Butler's probably out. You're looking at Blake Wesley. Sorry, we're having a little bit of technical difficulties.
That's all right. Just keep going.
Right. You're looking at Indiana, Purdue, Louisville. Butler's probably out for Blake Wesley. I know Ohio State's kind of in the mix there. And with Caleb First, you know, again, it's Purdue's in the middle of a lot of these guys. You know, they're thinking they're going to get Max Kripke out of Chicago. So that kind of impacts. They want Trey Kaufman, who's also a huge Indiana target. They also want Caleb First. I mean, he's a target. So there's a lot of intertwining, a lot of things to work out here in the next 5 months.
In a perfect world, obviously Christian Lander reclassifies for Indiana. They get him in the 20 class. And then how does next year's, if that happens, how would Indiana like to see the 2021 class lay out?
We're going to have to get some big guys.
Obviously.
So right off the bat, you know, and I know they're looking at a kid out of Pennsylvania named Kipang. I believe it's how you say it. Frank Kipang. He's a top 30 kid, 6'10", true post player. I know they're looking at him. They're looking at Caleb First. You know, right now, as of right now, Christian Lander is scheduled to play EYBL with Caleb First and Blake Wesley. So they're on the Indy Heat team, and that's April 17th to the 19th. They start playing that. As of yesterday, I heard that Indy Heat really expects Christian Lander to be playing. You know, Christian has said he wants to play. You know, this is what I've heard through the grapevine.
Which there's no reason he wouldn't, even if he reclassifies. Right? I mean, unless if he reclassifies, is there the possibility of enrolling early into Indiana?
Well, he's got to get done with his high school credits, and that's not going to happen anytime before June. Right.
Well, that's when you would enroll, or that would be an early enrollee, summer enrollee.
Sure. So he's got to finish those classes. I don't know how that works. if you can simultaneously, finish your classes online, some kind of college thing during your junior year, I don't know how that's going to work as far as spring goes. I don't think they really did either. So I think they're kind of, everybody's just kind of filling out things and trying to figure out, if this can happen. But it's going to be a tight timeline. If he does come early in 2020, it's going to be a tight timeline. So I think there are contingency plans in case if that doesn't happen. I mean, just like EYBL, him playing on EYBL, and so.
I mean, word is that I've heard Kaufman is not an Indiana lean.
No, I mean, I think he's a Purdue. Honestly, I think he's a Purdue kid. I don't know if he thinks he's good enough to be a Purdue kid. I think in some ways I've heard that he thinks he's waiting for that Kentucky offer that's not going to come. But, in a lot of ways, I think he's a Purdue kid.
Caleb Furst, I think he's a pretty good IU, or is that a Purdue guy? Because I know that's a battle between those two for him.
Yeah, and I asked him, I said, are you a Purdue fan? Were you a Purdue fan? And he said no, he was not. Growing up, it was not because I kind of heard that rumor. I think the big thing with Indiana is they're waiting to find out if they can get an official from him. I think he has one more official visit as I've got it. And I try not to bother these guys at this time of the year. The players they've got things going on, right? And so, but from my count, he moved the Michigan State visit. He was going to go on an official to Michigan State in January. He moved that back. They kind of rescheduled that for the spring, and he went ahead and saw the Michigan at Michigan State game, but it wasn't an official visit. So as my count, he's went on 3 official visits. He's got 2 open, with the thought that he's going to go to Michigan State with one of them. Indiana's really pushing hard for that last one.
Who are they going to land? Who could they land as far as the big guy? Who are they leading right now as far as the big guy?
Big guy, maybe Caleb Furst. I mean, I think that's really where you're at with that. There's interesting is Trey Patterson. He's sitting out there in New Jersey, who I absolutely love, Jim. Love Trey Patterson. You talk about a positionless player. Tom Crean would just love Trey Patterson.
Talk about why?
Well, he can do everything. He can handle the ball. He's the guy that can grab the ball off the boards and just take off and go at 6'8", and he can finish on the other end with and he can shoot the 3. He plays hard. He's a winner. He's in a plan for a Rutgers prep program that is one of the best in New Jersey. I think they've lost 1 game within New Jersey this year, and they play a pretty regional schedule. So you're talking about a winner, great athlete, skilled, and just a great kid. I mean, he's just a lot of fun to talk to.
What else is on the pipeline? I don't know. There's so many kids in that 2021 class. Indiana looking to be, I don't want to say guard heavy, but they're guard happy right now. They're good with guards. They're gonna have to get some wings and like we've talked about, a big. And who's that gonna be?
Well, I mean, a lot of that's still to be shaken out. Like I said, Frank Capong in Pennsylvania, I think right around Pennsylvania, Philadelphia. He's a kid that you're going to look at. Caleb Furst, I'm sure Christian Lander is already touching base with Caleb Furst. It's so, a lot of it's still to kind of be decided. And we've got a huge cycle getting ready to start here in April. A lot of stuff comes out of that. So, I know people want answers right now. Well, there's not a whole lot of answers. Someone who's kind of an interesting kid to look at is a kid from Lafayette Jefferson, Brooks Barnhizer. And he's not a big guy. He's 6'6", 6'7". But, when you compare him to Trey Kaufman's skill set, I like Barnhizer. I really do. And he doesn't get a lot of publicity. Indiana's been in to look at him.
Kaufman, I haven't seen him play a lot, but I have seen him play. I've talked to a lot of people about him. He's got some holes. I mean, I know he can shoot the ball, but he doesn't have an inside game. He doesn't seem to like the inside game. He's not much on rebounding. He's not much on defense. I know he's got a big name, but man, he seems to have more holes right now, but that doesn't mean he doesn't have the potential to fill that. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying he's not. Where you look at Christian Lander or someone like that, you're like, oh yeah, he can do this, and this. I know Trey Coffin can shoot, but other than shooting at 6'8", what does he bring to a college team, not a high school team, to a college team?
Well, no, I mean, I'm with you, and I go around and around with a lot of our fans on the message board, and I'm not trying to be negative or mean, but this is big boy stuff, right? This is the big time. So if you don't want that criticism, you go play mid-major somewhere, fine, whatever. But I'm with you. He's got his motor is a huge issue. He's got heavy feet. That's kind of an issue right now with Indiana's roster. I would have thought you would want, a better motor, better athleticism. Calling card is shooting at a legit 6'8". But again, I don't know. With Christian Lander, he's just got an extreme motor. His skill set translates. And with Trey, I don't know. We'll see. And then there's just some coachability issues also. I've just heard a lot of stories, and I'm not going to get into all that stuff right now today, but it's a concern. And if we've seen anything, Jim, there's more to it than just what you see on the face of talent is one thing. Talent's great. It's great to have talent. But you've got to have a mental talent.
Archie's had some problems landing guys outside of the state of not problems. He hadn't been able to do it. You got the Geronimo kid coming in, but that's a kid who thought he was going to play Division III basketball before he got the IU offer. My point only is Christian Lander, that commitment, does that help out? I know it's going to help more with in-state kids, but does that help with out-of-state? I hate high-profile recruit like that. He was a 5-star in the 2021 class. He's the top point guard in that class. That's got to bring some cachet to people outside of the state, some attention.
Yeah, I'm sure it probably does. It's a great. It's really coming down to you in Louisville, and I guess Louisville was. Now they really don't know what they're going to do. So yeah, I think people are talking about it. You got people talking, and it was on the broadcast last night, and it's just kind of that Romeo effect. We talked about this the other day. It makes it cool. Christian Landers, he's got great hair and a great game, and he makes it cool.
Well, there's that. Hey, right. Big win last night on the road for Wisconsin as they go into Ann Arbor and beat a Michigan team that had been playing really, really well. This Wisconsin team, my gosh, I was thinking Pat Chambers for Coach of the Year in the Big Ten, which then I don't know how you ignore Mark Turgeon at Maryland if they end up winning it. But Greg Gard, I mean, gee whiz, he's done a pretty damn good job. They're sitting in like second place.
Yeah, and I mean, how many Q1 wins do they have? Are they have right behind Kansas maybe for the most Q1 wins?
They're gigantic. They're way up there.
Yeah. So now they said 18-10. Everybody's 18-10. Then the great thing for Wisconsin is, what are they, 11-7 in the conference? So they're on a bit of a heater, and Indiana has to beat them.
Yeah. I mean, that's a game that I thought I'll be like, hey, Indiana could split, go 2-2 over these last 4 games, and they'll be fine. They'll stay just right where they are. But if they wanted to elevate, they needed to go 3-1 in that stretch. Well, the opportunity to go 3-1 to me was last night in West Lafayette, not in Champaign, and they dropped an absolute a bomb. I mean, the effort was, again, after the Minnesota and Penn State games, which they played their best basketball of the season, they come out and they never left Bloomington, it looked like.
Yeah, and I think there's a disconnect on whether they had an effort or not. I know Archie was pleased with his effort. I think when he goes back and looks at the film, like every time every coach has ever looked at film, he's going to kind of Indiana has a problem with a 100% effort, like a consistent effort just from the beginning to the end. Because, I wrote in my game notes that they had a great effort to start the game. I said, man, wow, this, they're not hitting shots, but they're fighting for loose balls, and they're getting their hand on offensive rebounds and getting extra possessions. And that kind of disappeared. You saw Justin Smith kind of, I don't know. There were a couple times when he just looked like he was just kind of defeated. After the Illinois game, if Indiana loses that game, which
I expect that they will. I'm not saying that they can't win, because they can, but I do not expect them to win. They will be 8-10 in the conference, and that will put them in the last 4. That will put them in the Wednesday game of the Big Ten tournament. You're in the bottom there. But they again then have the opportunity to win their way back out of that with 2 home games to finish the season against Minnesota and a tough Wisconsin team, of which they have to win both of those. But I think that they will do that to get out of that bottom 4. But that's kind of critical. I mean, I also look at a Rutgers team that Todd pointed out earlier this week that their schedule is set up. They could potentially play themselves into that bottom 4 as well, because they're right in front of Indiana, a half a game in front of Indiana. Indiana's a half a game in front of Purdue, who is the first of the 4 teams in that bottom segment.
Yeah, I mean, Rutgers, the bottom's kind of falling out for these guys, right? I dropped them in my power rankings. I do a power rankings every Monday. Dropped them, and people were saying, well, they're 9th. Yeah, I mean, in this Big Ten, that's kind of where it stood. And, you know, what did we talk about the other day on the show? That Indiana was 2 games out of first place and a game and a half out of 12th, something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Man, I don't know. It's, you know, enjoy it. Enjoy the process. The big thing is, you know, and I continue to look at is Indiana improving? I don't know. Jim, do you think Indiana's improved from January 1st?
I have to say yes, because I'm basing it on the last 2 games. Last night, I'm hoping last night was an anomaly, and it's this Purdue thing, that whatever funk that they're in right now with Purdue, or Archie Miller hasn't beaten Matt Painter yet. He's got a worse record than Jim Harbaugh does against Ohio State. But I'm hoping that was the case, that those last 2 games, that improvement is what I saw was real. We'll find out against Illinois. They don't have to win that game, but they got to go down there and play.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking for improvement. And I'm always quick to note that you should not look at games on the last week or last 2 weeks. You know, you should look at the last 6 weeks, last 2 months. Well, you know, yeah, I think they're getting better. But I've also always said you got to judge a coach on March 20th and not January 20th. So, you know, there's a lot to be decided still, right? There's still a lot of this season, you know, make or break. And these are make or break times. It kind of worries me because, you know, Archie Miller's he's counting on his team to make this happen. And, you know, as one of my friends said, if I was in a dark alley, I think I'd only want Race Thompson, you know, to have my back right now at this, especially last night. He might have got hit in the head with a brick. So it's kind of hard to, you know, put all your eggs in that basket. And for Archie Miller, it's tough because you're improving, you're trying. I mean, you saw him and Bruiser going at it last night on the bench, which I thought was great. I don't see anything wrong with that kind of stuff.
I said the same thing. All that was a great, passionate discussion in the heat of a moment, but there was never you could tell there was never anything personal. It was all about basketball. Oh God, he's supposed to be over here. You know, it was all about basketball. I had no problem with that. Not only did I not have a problem with it, I said, I think a lot of Hoosier fans probably would have enjoyed seeing that 2 months ago instead of with 4 games to go. But
yeah, it was a respectful. And if you look at Bruiser, he was being respectful, you know, but hey, they're fighting, they're trying. I don't think they're getting that same effort all the time from their team. And I think that may have been part of it too.
Hey, Rob Finnessy and Deron Davis both spoke to reporters after the game yesterday. Rob, obviously from Lafayette. He got a lot of boos last night, obviously, going back up there. He's yet to win there as a Hoosier, of course. But, you know, the sad thing is, we were doing the post-game show last night at Yogi's, of course, after the game with Todd Leary.
Show, by the way.
Thank you. We had 2 kids stop by that were Indiana students. One kid was from New York. The other kid was from Indiana. They're seniors, and they were saying, we've never seen Indiana beat Purdue. We've never seen Indiana in the NCAA tournament. Do you know how disheartening that was to have 2 students? And then one kid kind of had tears in his eyes. And he's from from New York. He's not even from Indiana.
Yeah, he should get his money back. That's definite refund, I think, in my book.
Yeah. But
I don't know, you know, and like I said, like I transferred into IU after I got hurt in college. And so I got 2 years of two of the best years, the 0-2 run. And so to me, it's like I even feel bad even talking about it. It was amazing. I'm 39 and I can still relive those memories if I don't have to think very hard about it.
Well, so, Rob Phinisee, like I said, from West Lafayette, he spoke with reporters after the game last night. Let's hear what Mr. Phinisee had to say.
Here, but no cigar. Huh?
Nah, I mean, obviously, I feel like we played really hard, but in the day, shots didn't fall. I feel like that's a big reason. But credit to Purdue, they had a great atmosphere here, and they played really hard.
Talk about the end of that first half. What you guys were nip and tuck there, and all of a sudden you got some turnovers, and they lengthened that lead.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of teams that's what they pretty much did, turn us over, and then got buckets in transition. Really, if we didn't turn the ball over, I feel like the lead at half would have been a little bit shorter.
This team has been feeding so much off Trace lately. How come we couldn't get them established?
Like I said, I feel like we just missed a lot of easy shots around the rim. And they had a post trap too, so that made it a little bit difficult for them.
What's the answer to those post traps? Just better passing out or better spacing?
Yeah.
Or?
I mean, I feel like the guards, honestly, we have to do a better job of getting open. So I feel like once we get open, it's easier to break it down since they're trapping. Somebody's going to be open.
Did they do anything different with their post trap and their post double this time, or did they just do it better?
I mean, I'm not really sure. Obviously, playing at home helps too. Just playing with that energy. So.
You had that nice stretch in the second half. I think you and Devontae were starting to hit some shots. I mean, what was kind of working there? You guys kind of got some momentum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I know no shots were falling until then, really, that stretch. So, really, our coaches were really telling us to be aggressive. So, that's the reason.
What else is said in those huddles when you guys aren't hitting anything? What are you trying to do to pick yourselves up?
Nothing, really, just play hard. I mean, at the end of the day, when shots aren't falling, the best thing you can do is play hard. So,
message for Sunday?
Win. That's what we want to do.
Okay. Go ahead and see your family.
Just win.
Rob Phinisee, Lafayette native, talking about the loss to the Boilers last night, but said some things that, missed a lot of missed easy shots. Yeah, I'd say a lot of missed easy shots. The post trap was something they started right off the bat. Matt Painter took Trace Jackson Davis away. And as Todd mentioned last night, Indiana looked shocked that they were double teaming him and did not have an answer as an adjustment, which I don't understand. You know they're going to double team your best player, your best post player, and yet you're not prepared for that. That was a little disconcerting, but to not be prepared for something you know was coming with 4 games left in the season, it's a little disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, that should be like a drill, right? Every day to open practice.
I compared it to the inability for Indiana to prepare for an onside kick against Tennessee in the Gator Bowl this year. And, that's some things you just know are coming. And so you have to be prepared for that. And to be caught off guard like they seem to be, I'm like, I don't get that. You played this team before, man.
Yeah, and it's not the first time that you've been doubled in the post either. It's just basketball, right? You get a dive, fill the opposite wing, and you look opposite. Ball movement. Anyway. I thought they went way too deep into shot clocks too.
They did a lot of times. You see them doing that, and then end up not getting the shot they need to be getting.
Just some shot, sure.
Yeah, it's weird. Deron Davis also met with reporters last night after that game. Let's hear what the senior had to say.
I feel like we wasn't knocking down shots. I feel like all our shots were good shots. I just feel like they just wasn't falling.
What does it feel like in the post when all week you guys were running things through there, and then today just?
It's kind of frustrating. He was missing a lot of bunnies, especially the first war. Trace had some fall out of his hands, but just like I said before, we wasn't finishing. We got to be a little more stronger down in the post.
As an older guy, is this the kind of game where you maybe talk to Trace and say, "Hey, look, just bounce back," because it was kind of a tough day for him?
Yeah, no, honestly, he handled it well. The loss coach really spoke to us and kept our heads up high in the locker room. And overall, I feel like as a team, we're together. And I feel like as long as we stay together as a group, we'll be fine.
Talk about this rivalry. It's been lopsided as of late. I mean, what you guys were saying in the locker room there?
Nothing. We're just staying together. We have no one cares about the losses. We don't care. Everything that matters is the win. So we're just focused on the next one. And the next one is and just focus on practice. That's tomorrow. So, we come in with our heads up and just focus and work hard tomorrow, prepare ourselves for our Sunday.
Okay, last question for him. You guys have gone struggling with double teams throughout the season a little bit in the process, taking this moving forward.
Yeah, no, just when our shots start falling from outside.
Yeah, let's get out of that. That's awful audio there. Jim Core, we're back to Indiana Sports Beat. Is it still going? Okay, you can shut your mic off so I don't have to hear those people too. Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on Indiana Sports Beat. Nick Baumgart from Indiana Rival sitting in with us right now. That you just heard from Deron Davis. We heard from Rob Finney earlier. They've got 3 games left. They got to get their stuff together. They got to get their heads together. They've got to go on the road to face an Illinois team that is just damn good, Nick. They've got the guy that's probably going to end up being the freshman of the year. A lot of Hoosier fans are not going to like hearing that, but Kofi Coburn he's a beast. He's staying a beast. I love Trayce Jackson-Davis. I think he's going to be he may be the player of the year next year. I don't know, but Kofi is a tough customer.
That's who you're going with?
No, I think that he may end up winning. I think he may end up winning the freshman of the year this year. I think they're tied right now at 5 awards each. I think it's how this season ends for these two. And this game last night definitely didn't help Trayce Jackson-Davis. We'll see what they go head to head now. That's going to be the thing when they play head to head. I mean, I think a lot of people may make their decision based on that game because, like I said, I think they're kind of tied right now. They both have won, I think, 5 Freshman of the Week honors from the Big Ten this year. So to me, that puts them. But I think Kofi may have won a Player of the Week award or two, which I don't know that Trayce Jackson has gotten that.
Yeah, I mean, Trayce has shot way better. I think Trayce has got better numbers. I did it maybe a week ago. I did like a Player A, Player B comparison. And, I need to do that again. But I think a lot of it, like you said, throw that out the window. It's going to be head to head. I agree.
Yeah, it's so close. I mean, because the statistics, I remember that. And I'm like, well, one was a little more skewed this way and one was a little more skewed this way. And it's like, one's a little bit better rebounder, one's a better shooter, one turns the ball over less. I mean, there's so many different things that goes into it that it was almost – I remember it was almost impossible for me to differentiate. And I think the final – the decision maker for me was the turnovers. One player turned the ball over kind of substantially more than the other did, I think, per game. So I went with the lower turnover person. I don't know what player it was, though, to be honest with you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it's, like you said, it's going to come down to who wins this game. That's what you're going to remember.
Let's talk about the matchups with Illinois, though, Indiana and Illinois. How do they match up from the guards on down?
Well, Illinois has everything. I mean, you talk about great point guard. Frazier is playing great at the point. He's really taken a step up this year. And Felice coming off. Felice and Frazier together are they're just great ball handlers. And so, Indiana's obviously has some issues with matching up at guard, right? I mean, that's been kind of a storyline all season. And then you got Ayo Dosunmu. What's he going to do? He could go for 25 or Georgie I'm butchering this. Bashanishvili. Georgie Bashanishvili.
That's pretty close, I think.
Pretty close. Okay, there you go. I'm
close enough.
Heavy German tongue. Anyway, he's great. And then you talked about Kofi Coburn. Alan Griffin off the bench is great. He's been really good. He's the guy that kicked the Purdue player in the chest at Mackey. So, I mean, IU fans should immediately like this guy. So, Trent Frazier, though, has been just kind of a different player this year. So, can Rob match up with him? Who's going to guard Ayo? I'm going to guess Justin Smith's going to get that assignment. We'll see. And we know about the matchup inside. What I'm going to be interested in is does Trayce start out on Kofi? I don't think he does. I mean, I don't know. We'll see. Joey Brunk kind of looks like the guy that could end up drawing him initially. We'll see.
Tim hit us up on the text line and said, Christian Landers says 3 things helped him make his decision. Number 1 was Chase Jackson Davis coming back and wants to play with him. Number 2, the fans. Number 3 can be the point guard that can play both ends of the court, lead that team to win. That tells me something too, though. All this talk about fans and social media, it don't mean crap. It just doesn't mean crap. If kids are not basing where they go to school on social media, and if they do, you don't want that kid because he's too soft. So I'm kind of done with that discussion. And the next time I hear it, I'm just going to tell somebody they're full of crap. They don't know what they're talking about, and just go find something else to talk about because it's a pointless conversation. Social media is baloney. Kids
People
are not
crazy. They're not.
Yes, it's the people. It's the people that are nuts. It's the fans that are nuts. Not all of them. Our fans are great. Our fans are incredible. But it's those crazy fans. It's that vocal minority. It's that vocal minority. It's that guy who likes to be on Facebook, who needs to be heard, who thinks it doesn't matter. It's just funny. Also on the text line, I'm sorry, but when Green, Durham, and Smith are gone, they will be great again. Yeah, you're going to miss. But who's going to be your shooter right now if Devontae Green's not there? Because he's the only shooter you have. He's the only shooter that would like him, love him, or hate him. It doesn't matter. He is the only shooter this team has. And when he gets hot and gets on a heater, he's a game changer. He could have actually last night he hit those couple threes, and I'm like, all it takes is for Devontae Green to heat up. If he can get that going, Indiana is right back in that game. Didn't happen, but that possibility is there, and it's there with him.
Yeah, I mean, he's great when he's shooting, getting shots within the flow of the offense. He's great. I don't know who you put that on. I agree. I tend to agree that it's not Archie Miller's fault that these guys don't show up and they couldn't even hit the broadside of a barn in Madison County or whatever county, I don't know, up there. But you've got to try to find a way to get Devontae Green shots within the flow of the offense earlier. I mean, he was, 3 of 14. I have to go back and look. I'm getting ready to watch the game again, unfortunately. But he took a lot of shots at the end of the shot clock just to bail you out because somebody had to. I mean, you're going to do that or a turnover. So, he's not good. He's I don't know. He hits tough shots. I get that, but he misses. Put him in a position where he has to force and find something, and he's such a temperamental player. I don't know.
It's going to be fun. Well, Indiana's going to have the opportunity as they head to Champaign on Sunday. Of course, that means after the game with Todd Leary will be coming to you.
Hey, you guys were great last night.
What's that?
Your show was great last night.
Thank you very much.
We had you on Rivals and loved it.
Yeah, it was great being there. Great. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it. But yeah, that's always, I just turn that to Todd. I mean, it's Todd's analysis and what Todd sees as a former player for Coach Knight and all that he has learned. So he gets give him all the credit for that. But thank you, but thanks to the fans. I mean, without them, there isn't one show. But the shows have continued to grow, and we appreciate that. We appreciate Rivals and loving it and taking it and carrying it on there as well. So we're looking forward to that. Also looking forward to Monday because Rivals can carry this interview as well. Christian Lander is going to be on with us on Monday. We're going to have the exclusive radio interview with Christian Lander. So as we usually try to be the first for you, we're going to be doing that again. Looking forward to that. So there's that. So looking forward to that. And, of course, like I said, after the game with Todd Leary coming to you on Sunday. What time is that? What time do we play on Sunday?
Oh, tough questions, man.
Anyone? New?
Yeah, 2 p.m. Eastern.
That means after the game will be rolling to you around 4 live from Yogi's as Indiana is in Champaign. We'll see if the Hoosiers can drink some champagne afterwards. A little post brunch mimosa action if they can get a win down there. But look forward to it. But man, I cannot thank everybody enough today. Charlie Miller, and absolutely again, wow, what an impressive dude that guy is.
What's he up to? I have to listen to the interview here.
Absolutely, runs an academy in Dallas, Attack Academy. Basketball academy, so he's doing great. He's just he's as a person, when you listen to it, you'll see what I'm talking about. He's just a phenomenal guy. It's a guy you want to be around. You love talking to because he's knowledgeable, he's thought out, he's well spoken, he's kind, he's courteous. It was nothing but a joy, and I can't, like it is when I talk with you. It's just always a joy. But Matt Taylor, play-by-play for the Indianapolis Colts. Can't thank my friend Matt for joining us here today. Great talking to him about the combine, the Colts, and all that was going on. So great having him on. And, of course, having you on as well. been fun. Got to talk to some recruiting, loading up on the game on Sunday. Of course, talking about last night as well. And Todd will be with us on Sunday to see if his schedule works back out for us or not. But looking forward to it, man. Can't thank you enough.
Thanks, Jim. Thanks,
you bet.
Appreciate
That's going to wrap it up for us today. Until Sunday, we'll be back after the game. Until then, I'm Jim Foyle, and I will see you on the radio.